Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Hong Kong stocks. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you greatly help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with the Hang Seng Index. So we can see that Hang Seng Index still remain bearish, even though we managed to close above the 20,000 psychological resistance this week. That said, we are hovering around the recent low, and also it's essentially the last support at around 23.6% at 19950. The low was around 19K, so that said, there's a very good chance for us to revisit 19.2K levels, which was the previous low here. On the way up, there is some resistance to clear, which is around this 20.7K resistance, and at the same time, on the way up, this will act as a strong cloud resistance as well. Moving on to the Hang Seng Tech Index. So you can see the Hang Seng Tech Index is slightly stronger. It's around 38.2% at 4283. In the event that we can continue to punch up, then the next resistance in line will be around 4.5K. And do note that 4.4K, there is also a cloud resistance to note. So if we were to pull back down, then 4082 and 4K psychological support would be the next in line. Moving on to Tencent. So Tencent continued to remain bearish after breaking down its recent low of 297, and we continue to see around 290 zone. So this stock will probably continue to drift lower unless we can break up above this baseline here at around 322. In the event that we can cross this resistance at 322, then potentially there may be more upside ahead towards 350 or even 360 levels. Let's move on to Alibaba or 9988. So you can see that 9988 very similar to the Hang Seng Tech, and Hang Seng Index is around 23.6% at 89.65. We closed the week at around $92-93, just above this blue conversion line. In the event that we can punch up next week, then perhaps we can go back to the $100 psychological resistance, and it's also the cloud resistance level. Key resistance to clear will be around 104 levels. That said, in the event that we continue to drift down further and start breaking this particular low here around $86, $87, then it's a very good chance for us to revisit $80 psychological support level. Let's move on to Meituan. So Meituan, you can see that we are actually drifting sideways, and we seem to be breaking down the cloud support. 170 would be the next support. In the event that we break it down next week, 161 and 149 would be the next two Fibonacci support in line. That said, we have to cross this 182 to see more potential ahead. Currently now we are in the cloud support, and it also acting as a very strong resistance for Meituan. Moving on to NIO. So you can see the NIO actually broke down its cloud support on this particular day here. The very next day, we managed to gap up, and then we close just above this red baseline at around 162 levels. So there is still some hope as we are hovering around and holding this 61.8% at 161.6 pretty well. Unless we start breaking down and 150 or even 138 start to break down, then things will start to turn ugly. And this particular day here, this day is not looking too good. So if we were to break down the cloud support one more time, then things will not be too good for NIO. Moving on to JD.com or 9618. So 9618, you can see that we already start breaking down this 50% at 232. And we actually close just around this 222 levels at 38.2%. So in the event that we continue to break down further, then 209 and even potentially 189 if we were to break down this $200 psychological support level next week. That said, we have to clear these two resistance at around 230 and 233 levels in order to see more bullish momentum ahead. Not forgetting, there's also a lot of cloud resistance here at around 235 to 240 levels. Let's move on to 9888 or Baidu. So Baidu is a very similar situation with NIO. We actually closed around 61.8% at 136. If we break down next week at 130 levels, you can see that it was being supported here a couple of days. And if the cloud support were to break down, then 124 and 116 would be the next support in line. In order to punch up, we have to clear this resistance at around 140 psychological resistance level. Let's move on to AIA. So AIA, you can see we actually found some support at its last support at 23.6% at 75.15. If we were to break down further, then there's a very good chance for us to retest this low at 71.60 or even this potentially near the $70 psychological support. We have to punch up in order to remain bullish, which is around these levels, $80 psychological support here, or resistance rather, and also this cloud resistance at around $78. Moving on to PingAn. So PingAn, very similar situation to Tencent. You can see that after breaking down its recent low, we continue to drift down further. So there is no end in sight. It will still continue to drift down further, and the trend will likely to remain intact. Resistance to clear, which is still quite far away, would be around this 48.35 levels here. And even if we do go up, there is a cloud resistance at around the $50 psychological resistance levels. Lastly, we have 1810 or Xiaomi Corporation. So Xiaomi, we did see some bounce at 23.6% at 11.30, and we even cleared this 38.2% at around $12. So unfortunately, on Friday itself, or just yesterday, we were being rejected off this cloud resistance and this red baseline as well. So this will act as a very strong resistance next week for Xiaomi Corporation to clear, which is 1250 levels. If we manage to clear above 1250, then it's a good chance for us to go back above $13. If not, then we will likely continue to drift back to 1130 levels, and hopefully we do not break down this $11 psychological support to retest the recent low of 1030. So overall, it seems like the bearish momentum it continues further. We shall see if next week there's any more buyers stepping in, and hopefully we can see a reversal. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.